First thing that you start thinking of is trying to build a relationship with the players. I think that's the most important piece in this whole thing. And then you start talking about a staff. And so working tirelessly right now to put a staff together that'll be great for these guys, that these players deserve. And right now, those are the two main focuses at this time. Ironically, a couple years ago when I was getting to the Chargers, I had looked at a lot of the stuff that Kyle had done here in 2023. So showed Derwin some Kyle film. Now show Kyle some Derwin film. Two great players in their own right, unique in their own style. It takes a very creative, innovative person to build an offense for Lamar Jackson and for the players we have in place, the Derrick Henrys, the Zay Flowers, all the guys here. We want plays where he can thrive on schedule and we can make the offense easy for him at times with having a really dominant running game and having plays off of the running game that create explosives. And then you know that you have Lamar, and then when it becomes crunch time and something's covered up, that he has this magical power to make plays in those situations.
That's Jesse Minter, new head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, introduced officially yesterday. He was hired over a week ago, but that was the Rich Eisen show. Talking about Lamar Jackson and what the new offensive coordinator is going to do to unlock the offensive potential of the team. And it all revolves around him, as we know, Nolan McGraw, because he's a multifaceted, multi-talented guy. He mentioned Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers by name, so he has a relationship with both. Well, he was here when Lamar was here. Henry and Zay came after he went on to Michigan and other destinations, Chargers. But he understands the pecking order of offensive skill players and what he needs to do, or the offensive coordinator needs to do, to maximize their skill set. And as we know, because we've seen it in real time, the skill set for all three is pretty enormous. Zay Flowers, I think, can still level up. Derrick Henry, just be you. And you can get even more out of Lamar based on what he's already accomplished. The best season of his career, he didn't even win the MVP. Statistically, was first-team All-Pro. But, man, if he can get the most out of that, and if there's anything left in the tank for Mark Andrews and Bateman, we get the drill. But he understands the task at hand. The question is, Nolan, as he was talking to Rich Eisen, who's that guy? Well, that's the one we're asking. Who is that person that you would trust and would take the job and is available to do so? Because there are a lot of candidates still out there.
Yeah, look, I would still, I know that, I don't even know if, what's his name? Haircut is even.
Kingsbury.
Thank you, Kingsbury. I'm going to say Kubiak again, but he's out. Kingsbury, if he's even on their radar, like beyond the Diana Rossini report, I don't think there's been a interview request for OC. There was a head coaching interview request. So, they've spoken to him recently. But outside of that, it's just, there really doesn't seem to be much momentum. Like Davis Webb, if he was in at one point, Joe Brady was in at one point, all these names are coming off the board. It feels like the ultimate hire is probably just going to be a complete shock, or maybe someone off the radar we never even heard of. So at this point, I'm fine. Just get it done. Let's get to work as soon as possible. That's where I'm at. What I liked about his comment with the offense is just, it seems like he's willing to play to the strengths to the most part. And this is a conversation we had a couple weeks ago about the future of the Ravens offense and where it's heading. And they've had the ability in 23 and 24 to show that they can get everyone involved, right? They've got a pretty deep cast of weapons around Lamar, and everyone was eating enough to keep them satisfied. And then this past year, it was much harder to do that. Zay Flowers was eating, I guess Andrews at times, but even by his past standards, not so much. Isaiah likely not. Rashad Bateman, forget he's out there half the time. And Henry was eating. Henry was eating quite a bit. But I almost wondered if thinning things out a little bit might just help simplify things. And when I look at like the Patriots, for example, here, who were a top 5 offense this year, maybe we could say the same about Seattle, although I think they have a little more weapons at their disposal. But we'll focus on New England for now. top 5 offense this year. Drake May was MVP consideration. If he's not going to win it, he's going to finish second. And I look at these weapons. All right, Stephon Diggs, he commands the most targets. Hunter Henry at tight end. But then you go right to Mac Hollins, third in target share.
Yeah.
Running backs, they had a nice duo, but most teams operate with a duo these days. So that right there is evidence that you can make it to the Super Bowl. You can have the MVP quarterback, but he doesn't have 4 receivers around him that are commanding a ton of reps or top-tier red zone threats. He's got his 2 guys through the air that he likes, and he's got 2 running backs. So for the Ravens, Derrick Henry, that's more than enough. You only need 1 running back in that case, and we still like what Keaton Mitchell does. Justice Hill could be back as well. I think just simplifying things down, if it's going to be Flowers and Andrews as your main receiving targets, I'm fine with that. That's okay with me. I think maybe having a few less mouths to feed and just keeping things simple, playing to what are your clear-cut strengths, could be what's best for this offense.
At this stage of Lamar's career, though, 8 years in, just turned 29 years old, where is he as a is he still the RPO threat, dual threat guy, maybe the greatest in the history of the NFL? Is he more inclined to be more of a pocket passer and relying on a running game that doesn't solely need his legs to succeed, as we've seen the last couple of years with Derrick Henry? Or is he still capable of, hey, is he a guy that can still rush for 700-800 yards if the scheme calls for it?
Oh, he's capable. I mean, he's capable of rushing for 1,000. It's just a matter of what does that OC want to do and kind of what Lamar wants to do as well, because even when he was playing really well in 23 and 24, he was running less frequently. Now, the fact that he was, taking his game through the air to another level, it completely offset that, and nobody really batted an eye. Nobody was upset about it. But they still used him and utilized his legs enough through designed runs to keep the defense honest. And I think that might have been what they were missing this year. How much of that is connected to the poor O-line? Probably quite a bit. But even still, there were weak stretches where they just didn't even attempt that kind of stuff. If Lamar was running, it was a product of the pocket breaking down or a play not being there and him having to scramble and create some yards. There just really wasn't much designed for him this year. And I think that's got to change. He doesn't have to go back to what he was early in his career, but you do need still some of that so the defense can't just, focus on one thing. I mean, Derrick Henry's great with his legs, but it even helps Derrick Henry. If Lamar's sprinkling in a couple design runs, that only helps Henry even more. It helps the entire offense. And
we might have to face the reality as well with Lamar running the football. It's not as fast as he was in 2018, 2019. Father Time was 29, but injuries, lower body injuries in particular, may have affected his, because he's getting caught by guys that 5 years ago don't even lay a glove on him. Does he still have that breakaway speed? And screw this Madden nonsense, which your speed might be. In real football terms, is Lamar still a guy that could outrun angles where he hasn't really been as explosive, it seems?
I think, 100%. Is he naturally, technically slower than he was in 18 and 19? Yes, technically. But I think we're talking fractions of seconds.
Still fast enough, I guess.
I think his lack of elusiveness is 100% tied to the injury stuff this past year. I mean, just watching the games in real time, plays where he would step up with supreme confidence and escape the pocket without any hesitation. There was a little more hesitation in his game. I think he knew that he didn't have that initial burst to escape the pocket, and he was getting tripped up by guys that were pass rushers were getting a hand on him. But I think in the open field, you could still see it. If he got a head full of steam, there was still that elusiveness. Like, if it's him against a member of the secondary, I still like Lamar there because he's, probably going to juke him or something like that. But, healthy Lamar should be capable of running and needs to get back to being a core principle of the offense.
So that's Todd Monken. Jesse Minter talked about the replacement potential for Todd Monken, now the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Davis Webb took his name out of the Raiders coaching carousel because the assumption is, Nolan, that Clint Kubiak's going to get that job. Now, does Davis Webb now circle back here to Baltimore because Denver fired Lombardi, and that's the natural progression for him. He just moves up a notch under Sean Payton. Because Webb now has kind of intrigued me in regards to what he could possibly do here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're being an OC either way, I think you'd probably just stick around with the organization you're familiar with. That'd be my guess. Unless he was so dead set on, I want to coach Lamar, or I like the Ravens' offensive pieces better.
Well, he's not going to call plays in Denver for the most part.
That's true.
He calls them here, I would assume.
Well, maybe he's getting some fear-mongering from Sean Payton. You see the comments saying that if he took the Raiders job and became a division rival head coach of Sean Payton, it was something, maybe a comment in jest, but said he would regret that, or it would make his life hell or something like that.
Are we circling back to what Mike Harmon was saying about how Sean Payton's a horrible human being, which we didn't elaborate?
I don't think that's part of it, yeah. Okay. I think it might have been something else. But no, he did say that. I just read the comment. I didn't see if it was said in like a joking manner.
Sure.
But either way, put it out there. Like, hey, if you're going to be the head coach of a division rival, like, I'm not going to be rooting you on anymore. They're not going to be helping you out anymore.
I got you.